attend this meeting electronically via Zoom. This meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune.
Councilman Lester?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie? Councilman Cruzen?
Here.
Councilman Zaborni?
Here.
And Councilman President Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Palmer? Here. All right, we'll go into the engineer's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Borough Engineer, I submit tonight's report. For the Michael Road park improvements, site work is ongoing. The playground equipment has been delivered and is in process of being installed. The parking lot area retaining wall will be completed this week. All remaining concrete work will be completed in the next 2 weeks. We are waiting on a date for the safety surface installation with the goal of being installed before Thanksgiving. For the Brooklyn Avenue improvements, the concrete improvements are complete. The contractor plans on paving November 21st to 23rd with the striping to follow. For the 2022 roadway improvements of South Morris and Orchard, we are addressing NJDOT comments and will resubmit revised plans. For the MacArthur, Halsey, and Patton paving, the paving and concrete work have been completed. A punch list is being prepared. For the Manalapan Brook tributary emergency improvements, this project was designed to replace a retaining wall along a tributary to Manalapan Brook that is collapsing. The project has been bid and results are currently under review. For items 6 through 8, there is no update.
Thank you.
Okay, resolutions under consent agenda, 2022-165, resolution certifying review of the 2022 best practices inventory. 2022-166, resolution authorizing a tax refund for property located at 5 Kane Ave, block 85.115, lot 22, in the amount of $2,351.87. 2022-167, resolution authorizing a tax refund for several properties to CoreLogic in the amount of $12,103.38. 2022-168, authorizing payment application number 1 for Halsey Place, Patton Place, and MacArthur Place, and various capital improvements. 2022-169, authorizing payment application number 2 for Brooklyn Avenue and various capital improvements. 2022-170, authorizing change order number 1 final, pay estimate number 3 final, and release of retainage for tennis court improvements. 2022-171, authorizing change order number 1 final, pay estimate number 4 final, and release of retainage for 2021 roadway improvements, Madison, Manhattan, Maiden, and George, the NJDOT FY 2021 Municipal Aid Program. 2022-172, authorizing change order number 1 for project known as Daniel Road Water Treatment Plant Improvements. 2022-173, resolution determining the form and other details of not exceeding $1,400,000 general obligation bonds, series 2022B of the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, and providing for their sale to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank and the State of New Jersey pursuant to the state fiscal year 2023 New Jersey Water Bank. And finally, 2022-174, payment of bills.
I'll make a motion, open up to the public, items on the caucus agenda only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody on Zoom?
So, the only person that's on Zoom is Ted, Councilman Ritchie. There doesn't appear to be anyone in the waiting room, but I don't know if we're having technical difficulties, so.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Hold on 1 second, Charlie.
Okay.
I got a text that says Zoom information is wrong on the agenda. That may be why there's nobody on Zoom.
Yeah,
Good question, but it's just a text I got.
The information that's on the agenda is correct. That's how I got into Zoom tonight.
Okay.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, so it's somebody else's issue.
Yeah, somebody may have typed in something wrong, but what's on there is correct.
Thank you, Ted. Okay.
You're welcome.
Now I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to close the caucus meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting was called for Wednesday, November 9th, 2022, at 7:30 PM at Borough Hall located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Pursuant to the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B, the public may choose to attend this meeting electronically via Zoom. This meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune.
I will salute to the flag, followed by a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Lester?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here,
Councilman Spacuza?
Here.
Councilman Zaborni?
Here.
Council President Kramer?
Here.
Mayor Palmer? Here. Okay, we have a couple sets of minutes, first being September 7th caucus and regular meeting, and then September 19th caucus and regular meeting.
Make a motion to move September 7th caucus meeting minutes.
Second.
Councilman Lester?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
yes,
Councilman Spacuza?
Yes.
Councilman Zaborni?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Make a motion to move September 7th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Councilman Lester?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
yes,
Councilman Spacuza?
Yes.
Councilman Zaborni?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Make a motion to move September 19th caucus minutes.
Second.
Councilman Lester?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
yes,
Councilman Spacuza?
Yes.
Councilman Zaborni?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Make a motion to move September 19th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Councilman Lester?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
yes,
Councilman Spacuza?
Yes.
Councilman Zaborni?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes.
Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to accept resolutions on the consent agenda, resolutions 2022-165 through 2022-174.
Make a motion to move resolutions 2022-165 through 2022-174.
Second.
Councilman Lester?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
yes,
Councilman Spacuza?
Yes.
Councilman Zaborni?
Yes.
Council President Kramer?
Yes. Okay, have any and all reports from liaisons and department heads?
Just my usual, there will be a next board event meeting on the 18th at the media center at 7 PM over at high school.
I got a few things. First, I'll start with the election day yesterday. Congratulations to the clerk's office for running a smooth election day, Jen and Jenny and Jen. And I just noticed that. And moving on to, we're moving back to Halloween. I had a lot of fun at the trunk or treat, so job well done to the recreation department for putting that together. And of course, the Municipal Alliance for doing the Halloween house decorating. I was able to judge again this year, and I had a lot of fun seeing how creative people are in town. And we have a lot of Christmas events coming up. So the 25th of November to December 3rd, we're doing a Grinchmas toy drive with the Recreation Department where the Grinch will go up to your porch and steal presents, which could be cool if you have young children at home. November 30th is an Advent calendar giveaway for the year 2023. That is at the Borough Hall. December 9th, I believe is a Friday, Cookies with Mrs. Claus, which was a big hit last year. This year is at the high school. There are 2 sessions and the later one is available. The first one is sold out. December 15th is the last day for our home decorating contest for Christmas. The 16th and 17th, Grinchmas My Lawn. December 23rd, we will be doing Facebook Live for the House Decorating Awards. And also on the 23rd, there's a kids activity box put up here at the Borough Hall at 6 o'clock. And you can find all this info again on Facebook or on the Borough website. And I think that was it. Thanks.
A lot of great events. Having Trunk or Treat was a lot of fun. Participating in that. Congratulations to everybody involved. We had the mayor and council breakfast. That was a lot of fun too. Just being newly involved in that, really enjoyed my morning there. Met a lot of residents, and we had a good time. As you already said, December 3rd is for tree lighting. I do want to say that the recreation department is holding their meeting upstairs right now, and just they too want to say that they really enjoyed the Halloween event. I do have one big thing to state, that the indoor soccer is a go, and it's being fully reviewed, and they do have participants that are going to head it. And more to come on this one, but I introduced an idea of a tennis program, possibly a tennis clinic for later in the springtime, to utilize the beautiful tennis courts that are now fully renovated and looks like just about ready. I think there should be some type of dedication or celebration about it. But I've been using it with my family, and actually we came up with the idea of some type of small program, and I had a lot of ideas for that, and they seem to be very happy for that. So more to come about that. And certainly doing some investigation and discussion about the museum idea, the Spotswood Museum. So a lot of exciting things coming to Spotswood in the future in those areas. Also, I want to say happy Veterans Day. Thank you to everyone for their service. Really very important to recognize that. And pizza with Palmer this morning was a lot of fun, just as well. Annette Zaborni with me, and we had a very nice time spending the morning at the Office on Aging. They're doing wonderful things over there. I have a few other things about that, which I'm going to bring up later, but really good stuff. So good to be Spotswood.
So I have a couple things also. I was Pat Sajak for the trunk or treat. Got to spend a lot of time with a lot of people. A lot of people there. It was pretty crowded. I was also at breakfast, serving people breakfast. The other thing I wanted to say is the people that took over the automobile shop next to the library, I can't remember the name of it right offhand, Ty or something, but I was in my car the other day and had some pretty funky noises coming out of it. And I pulled in there and they actually were closed, but they opened the shop up and one of my tires was ready to come flying off my Chevelle. So they took care of it for me. They were very nice. So, you know, if you need some work, they're pretty nice people. And that's pretty much it for me, Mayor.
Hang on one second, excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. I misspoke before, the meeting's on the 15th, not the 18th, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Charlie. All right, so first I'll apologize because I know I missed the last couple of meetings. The first one I was on vacation, and the second one was a surprise Yankee tickets to the playoff game with my son. So as I tell every one of our staff upstairs and all of you, here, family always comes first. And I was not passing up, you know, spending time with my 21-year-old son at a Yankee game. While I love you all in Spotswood, that was way more important to me to do. Of course, it got rained out, but, you know, I was already in Brooklyn, or the Bronx actually, and, you know, the traffic getting there and getting home was not fun in the rain. Anyway, so I apologize for that, but I do want to say congratulations, Council President, on his re-election, Councilman Zaborni, on your election also, Dawn Schwartz, Councilwoman-elect, and Nick Lagakis, Councilman-elect. Congratulations. This administration looks forward to working with all of you in the upcoming couple of years. One other thing I wanted to mention, as was mentioned earlier, Jen and Jenny really did a great job with the election. And, you know, from last year on the debacle that we had with the election, on election day, with the 5 districts in one location, and just the craziness that went on, and the year that we've, you know, spent
lobbying to the county to get, you know, multiple sites and stuff. Ryan, Vicky, and I have spent numerous times on the phone with the County Board of Elections to make sure that each of the sites, with the help of, you know, Chuck Hager and his team on the Republican Club, you know, getting to get the sites that we have. So thankfully, we now have 5 sites with 7 districts as opposed to 2 with 7 districts. So everything went really super smooth yesterday. Ladies, great job. I know you've never done that before, and you looked like seasoned professionals. And we really heard wonderful things, and, you know, I was at each of the polling sites. I stopped in, you know, in the morning and in the afternoon, and you guys were spot on. So congratulations on the job well done. Thank you. I want to remind everyone, I know we've talked about this for the last few months, but I really, I'm urging all of you on council, all of you in the public, we have a significant issue coming forth from the state. We've said it numerous times, state health benefits by the governor's office is increasing 22% on municipalities. A 22% increase to our municipality on state health benefits for our employees is a significant dollar amount. Ryan and I have been saying it, I know Vicky's been lobbying for it with the legislation. We need every person to be calling their legislators, calling the governor's office and saying, this is in a small town, in any town, every single mayor in New Jersey is absolutely living for this. The conference of mayors that we've discussed, this is an issue that is unfathomable, because when the state unions complained to the governor, he made a deal with the state. So state employees are only getting a 2% increase is what's gonna cost on the state side. So the rest of us taxpayers can use the burden of 22% on the increase in health benefits. So we're really asking all of our residents, please, this is an issue that is huge in a town of our size. And while we have been, you know, fiscally responsible, and we are, you know, tightening every single penny all the time, and we're looking at every single thing we do, a 22% increase equates to a lot of money in Spotswood, and we only have, you know, a small amount of employees that utilize the health benefits, and it's still gonna be a cost that's significant to us. So I urge you all, contact your legislators, contact the governor's office, send an email, send a letter, you know, help us, all of the mayors in New Jersey, you know, stand up and say, you can't do this to us next year, you can't do it to our taxpayers, that's not fair. So I'm gonna move off of the political stuff now and talk about all the good stuff that's going on. I wanted to give a quick update on 85 Main Street, which is the old Schweitzer property. As you know, all of the work has been being done. There should be, I did an interview over there a couple of weeks ago, Ryan, I feel like the days fly by, let me give you what day it is. But a couple of weeks ago, I did an interview over there for them, so there should be that interview and video coming out shortly about the work that's going on over there. We also were, and I'm not sure how much we talked about this, but we were graciously donated by Rockefeller all of the property on the opposite side of 85 Main Street. So all of the property that butts up to the Gillette property, all of the property that goes down Dora Avenue, and back there by Sydney, that is all now borough-owned property. So the closing was just, I think, last week. So that has gone through, and we have the benefit of that land is now ours and cannot, you know, be sold or done, you know, to the developer or any of that. As all the other council members said, we had our trunk or treat, and yes, council president stepped in as Pat Jack with the Wheel of Fortune, because, you know, I was unexpectedly down a man over there. But we had an amazing time. I also have to shout out to you, council president, because he came out and he grilled hot dogs for like 60 kids when we had our little monster meal on Halloween night, trying not to make everybody eat Snicker bars for dinner, but giving some hot dogs. So we had a little hot dog party out in front. And thank you for, I know Jen was there, the Alliance was there, Rec was there, DPW was there to help us too. We had a fun night, seeing all the costumes. And we actually had a sneak peek of the Grinch, I saw too. Heard he was out on Summer Hill Road.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, causing some mayhem. I wanted to make another announcement, and I apologize that I have so many things here, but they've been building up the past couple of months. Outside, we now have a community pantry. With thanks to our high school DECA president and her colleagues, they came up with this community pantry idea. It looks very similar to like our little libraries that we have stationed around town. And it is outside on this side of the building here, and it has non-perishable items in it. And the idea is that if you're in need, you can go up and take what you need. If you want to give, you can put what you have in there, so that there's always an opportunity, whether the soup kitchen is open, whether whatever it is, if you have a need within our community, you'll have access to something and food, if that should be a need that you have. So we were more than thrilled to help them with that initiative, and we're super proud of the ladies who brought that initiative to us. And take a peek at it when you go out. We're really, really proud of them. Upcoming events, I think Councilman Lesko has hit just about all of them. The only one thing I wanted to mention is that the Recreation Department, in conjunction with everybody else in town, and I love the fact that our small town is always so giving, the Recreation Department has started a month of giving. So I started my box. We have a list of items that we've gotten from Alice's Cup of things that they need, and each day in November, we put an item in your box, and then we'll be collecting all those boxes at the tree lighting for Alice's Cup, to stuff their truck again, as we've done in the past. So there is a list out on the website. I spent some time at ShopRite and bought probably 10 days worth, and then I'll have to do it again. But I hope you'll join us in that initiative for Alice's Cup. Our tree lighting is December 3rd. In addition to the big guy who always comes on the fire truck, I have been told that we have maybe somebody else joining us, and that we could have some shenanigans coming our way. And he's been poking his head around all over town recently, so it will be a fun night. I think there'll be some interesting things that might come out that night, is what I'm being told. I think that's about it for me. I don't think I missed anything. And thank you guys. Sorry for my long-winded.
I'm gonna jump in again now, sorry.
I'll come after you.
Okay. So, as the mayor pointed out too, and I apologize, but I also wanted to congratulate Nick, Dawn, and Larry for getting elected. You guys do a great job. But I also wanted to congratulate Ryan and Jose. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and to run for an office, and whether you're sitting up here or not, it's nice to see that people want to get involved. And I hope that you guys stay involved and stay coming to the meetings, and eventually we'll see you up here. So thank you for running and putting yourselves out there.
Thank you. We changed the December meeting, correct? We have a date change?
Hey, Larry, can I get in there for a second before you keep going?
Sure, Ted.
All right, basically, I'm gonna echo pretty much everyone else has done. The administration, the mayor, and BA, whatever strings they pulled to make things go smooth this year, congratulations. It wasn't the disaster we suffered 2 years ago, so good on you guys for that. And I also want to do the congratulations to Dawn, Nick, and Andrew for winning their election, and Larry for winning re-election. And finally, I just want to offer an apology to Dawn for some of the nastiness that was on Facebook by anonymous people. Wasn't necessary, and it really shouldn't be directed at anybody running for office. People are putting themselves out there to do a good job, and a few people out there that, for whatever reason, just want to be nasty. It isn't right. and also the clerk's office, because I know this was trial by fire for them. You know, I've seen all the years in the last 8 years, what we go through with elections and, you know, how much aggravation there is. And, you know, it seems like the ladies in there got it right under control this year for the first time around. So, you know, good job for you guys. That's it.
Thank you, Ted.
Do we know the date? Off the top of anybody's head?
December 12th.
So we're doing one meeting in the month of December, that'll be the 12th.
I have one more thing too. I have so many things on my paper.
Oh, it says it on there. Sorry, alright.
I have so many things on this piece of paper I forgot. Tomorrow we are having the Veterans Day celebration over at the Office on Aging. I think at noon, they always do a wonderful tribute to the veterans over there, so we'll be participating in that. And also, Shoney School is doing a veterans event on Monday morning. Ryan and I will be attending that event as well. So I do, since we aren't going to be here, I want to wish all of our veterans a very happy Veterans Day. We totally appreciate your service. We wouldn't be here without you. And I, for one, definitely appreciate all the veterans in my family, as well as all that I come in contact with on a regular basis. So thank you.
Council President. I also want to send congratulations to all the candidates, and it was an honor to be a part of this entire process. For me, I am very humbled. I was chosen by council in an interview in July, and now the people have chosen me, and that means a lot to myself, my family, but I am very, truly proud to serve and do the best we can. So please send me emails, contact me, however you need to, but it's going to be, looking forward to working with everybody. So congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, make a motion open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any new business anyone would like to discuss?
Diane Charles, 29 Old States Road. I just have a quick question. When the municipal building is closed at 12:30, do the employees go home or do they stay?
It depends on the particular situation. So there have been instances where they have stayed and worked here, they've gone home and worked from home. It all depends on the safety of everyone involved. So we will, so this past Friday, they were not working in the building because they needed to have access to the contractors, needed to have access to all the floors, and it would have created an unsafe condition.
Okay.
So yeah, it's on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Just say-
I'm 13 kopek way. Had a bunch of questions.
Just step out a little bit, Adam. There you go.
Did you say your name was?
Oh, okay.
Last name. Regarding ordinance 2022-9, the permits on Eisenhower, kopek, McCarthy Place, Halsey Place, and Patton Place. I guess just a bunch of questions. When does the ordinance go into effect?
Once all of the, once they have all of the hang tags and the signs up, then you'll be notified that it's in effect. Could be another week, another 10 days. You have to wait until the police department gets everything together.
Okay, so no specific date and at least
Not right at this moment.
ready yet.
I don't have anything right at this moment. I have a phone discussion with the chief tomorrow.
Okay, so it was passed without any of this information available?
It was passed weeks ago.
Okay,
Yes, sir, what happens is that when this governing body passes an ordinance like that, which identifies certain issues, then it's up to the department here, the police department, to carry it out. It's not much more that they can do, they can only pass like a policy, this is an ordinance, so
okay.
that's.
So do we know, is it all times of the day, just overnight? Do you have any more information that
Yeah,
not much was provided in the letter?
What's gonna happen is There were several very close accidents on Eisenhower because people were parking there from across the apartments, from the apartments next door or the condos next door, and then they narrowed the street to a one-lane kind of deal. Complaints were made, the people moved over to Kopek Way. That's when you guys would see that big limo parked on your streets, or those, vehicles that, trucks that people were doing their businesses with. A lot of people complained about it. Two of my neighbors almost crashed into each other. That was the reason why we decided to do something about it. And we didn't want to just do, Eisenhower in that area, and then have them all move over to your area, and then you guys would be over here complaining about that. That's the reason why both of them were decided, because we had complaints from people on your side, on Kopek Way, about these vehicles moving over there and parking on their streets. That's the reason why we included everybody. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a hang tag sticker. Now, if you park in your driveway, you don't have to worry about it. But if you have friends that come over and they're gonna be there all day long, you wanna give them one of those tickets to hang in their rearview mirror. And then when they leave, they give them back to you. So that when you have visitors, you don't get a visitor that gets a ticket. That's the purpose of the hang tags, so that nobody gets a ticket.
We'll get a bunch of visitor hang tags or.
Yes, the police department will come over, they will ask you, I believe you can get up to 5 hang tags. And then you just leave them in your house. You have friends that come over, you have a party, you have them throw them in their windows.
If we have more than 5 coming over, we just call the police, tell them.
Just call them and let them know that you have more than 5.
Communicate to all the patrol people.
Yeah, they'll let everybody know. It's already been worked out with the police department, they'll handle it, as long as you give them the information.
Okay, because someone called and they really didn't have a lot of information yet, so, just so you know.
Well, okay, because you're probably talking to a dispatcher. I don't know how much the dispatcher.
That's what we'll be talking to when we call it in, right?
Yeah, but you're gonna say to them, hey, I live on 10 Kopek Way, I have 15 people over for a birthday party, I only have 5 hang tags, so there's 10 more cars parked in front of my house. Then they'll turn around and let the police department know, and let the patrolman know that you have a big party.
Alright, so, but every time we have someone come over, we have to put a hang tag in their car. Like
I mean,
whether it's for
if they
10
park in
minutes
your
or-
driveway, not if it's 10 minutes, no, I wouldn't worry about it.
Patrol person from
If they're gonna be there 4 or 5 hours and somebody comes by on patrol, they don't know how long they've been there.
Adam, I would put it in every time, on that one off occasion that you happen to park there and the officer drives by at that moment, that could be bad luck,
Yeah, no, it's just an inconvenience, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Especially if they get ticketed, so that's,
Right, so the hang tag would probably be something.
answer the police department, I can't imagine they want calls every time we have someone come over, but.
No, right, it's only for large parties, the discussion that we have is for large parties. That you have to call, you don't have to call, obviously, every time you get it. None of this was to, inconvenience the residents, it was more to make it, safer, like Larry said, open up the streets so individuals from across the street can park in their street and take the spots. So that's why this went into effect.
Okay, let's see what else I have. What if someone's ticketed incorrectly? We call it in, but somehow the communication channels do not work. What do we do then?
Well,
Then you bring it to the attention
right.
of the police department, and they should address that. There's always a way. If they did it not in compliance with that ordinance, then that ticket would be dismissed. You'd have to go through the process, probably write a letter, but we could talk to the chief and make sure that it shouldn't happen. Call it in. I mean, I've been in towns where there's no nighttime, not allowed to park on the streets at nighttime. So if you have people over, you call, and then the cops know. So I think the cops are generally used to this type of situation. As long as it's called in, it calls out the
Part, they should be able to correct it.
I believe there's other areas in town, right? We have other areas in town that already have this permit parking. I think, across the street, Bologna, in that area, I think also has, there's another section in town that also has, the permanent parking as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dan Walker, and I live also on Kopek Way, and I'd like to discuss this. I have a couple of questions as follow-up on this residential ordinance, residential parking only. The first question I have is, was anybody on Kopek Way ever discussed with this thing, other than the one van that for a while was illegally parked too close to Main Street, thus blocking the vision of people? I've lived there for over 20 years, and I have never had a problem other than that van parking, an external person parking on the street. Occasionally, people have blowout parties within Kopek Way, and there's a lot of people, a lot of cars that will come in there. I've never, my over 20 years there, have seen, other than that van for a few weeks, causing any problem at all. And I'm wondering, was anybody in Kopek Way considered on this? And is there any way possible that we can take a petition to have Kopek Way removed? Because this is, basically, you're giving a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, that might exist in the future. But people might, on Brookview Farms, Terrace condo, might find another street to park on other than ours. And maybe they can park on Main Street, there's that gravel spot, maybe that's illegal. But they might be, it's a good walk, especially to my house on Kopek Way. And to have all of Kopek Way, to have this new regulation in place, is you're causing us a lot of problems, okay? And I have, well, at any rate, I have a couple of questions. One is, was anything considered, any people on Kopek Way discussed with this? We have an association. Was anybody in that association discussed before this was implemented?
We did have people come and discuss it with us. That's the reason Kopek Way was.
added.
In Kopek Way?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the reason you guys were added.
If we had a door-to-door petition, and pick a number, 90% of the houses, 90% of the people in Kopek Way said, we don't want this. If there's a problem in the future, let's change, but not right now. If we had a petition like that, would that help change this ordinance?
I'll let the attorney answer that.
I think the governing body only acted after receiving complaints from people on Quebec Way, which probably would be part of the maybe door knocking.
I'm the second house in Kopek.
The second
So
house,
there's no
and
complaint
it has
from
no
me.
problem.
And the police department, it's not like they come up with these ideas on their own, that the police department also has to approve this. So it's a public safety thing that will help. You could go ahead and do all that and see, you'll go back to
I don't want to go, I have a lot of other things I'd rather do than go door to door on 32 houses there. You know, so I would do that.
But I just want you to know.
If there's a chance of changing this, I mean, would you guys, all of you people, change that ordinance to not include Kopek Way, and maybe include it in the future when a problem exists?
But let me ask you a question. If you don't want it now, why should we worry about you in the future? The problem is, we tried to get them to move from Eisenhower, and when they did, they went over to Kopek Way.
They did not. There was one van that was probably from the apartments of
Your people that came to us told us that they were blocking the road. Maybe not in front of his house, maybe not in front of his house.
We have a person told us.
I understand that, but I'm telling you what we were told. The reason why we decided to add Kopek Way was because people complained that those people were moving from Eisenhower
So is a petition useful?
Thank you.
So, sir, so what I would say is that this council responded to a complaint by referring this to the police to look into. And they've been given advice by the police department to go and take these steps, which they did. Now, does every action that they take stay in stone for forever and ever? No, and if they can continue to monitor this, and, I mean, if you all wanna do a petition and say this is bothersome to me, you can do that too. But it's something they can continue to monitor, but you're asking this council, the council did not pick this street arbitrarily and say we're going to.
It's the next one over.
But sir, I just want you to be aware, they did take the steps they're supposed to. They had responded to a person's complaint, they brought it to the attention of public safety referred to them and said, this is what you should do, and they took that action. But it doesn't mean it's forever either. So it's something that we could refer, based on the issues brought up by you and your neighbors today, we can have the police department continue to monitor it, and it could always be changed. But right now, that's what was recommended to the council, and that's why they acted on it.
What was said before, by the way, was inaccurate. In the letter that we got from the council, which I gave you a copy, it said that we can have, in each house, have only as many permits as there are registered cars to owners in that house.
I think that was for the permits itself. The hang tags are, so you're gonna get a sticker or some kind of permit for the vehicle, I believe, is how it was stated earlier. The hang tags are something different. So if you're parked in your driveway or you own that vehicle, you don't need to put a hang tag if you're parked on the street. You should have something in that vehicle already.
If I only have 3 permits for the 3 cars in my house, how many hang tags will I be able to get?
I believe up to 5.
Okay, that's not when I spoke to, I called up traffic safety on and I spoke to a sergeant in charge of that, and he basically said that you need for every permit, and I didn't know there was a difference between permit and hang tag.
We'll follow up with you.
Yes, okay, so, but if there's only 3, does that change your decision? I mean, can we change this so that instead of only potentially having 3 permits,
So sir, like,
we can have a half a dozen to each residence to be able to use for parties?
The purpose is not to make it harder for you.
Well, it is.
The purpose
It is. It is. I read
purpose of it is to protect your ability to park in your area.
Did you hear what I said
I
earlier?
heard what you said.
But sir, but I'm gonna tell you, and I will talk to the police department about this.
Yeah.
Let's say you only had 3 visitor hand tags, but you have 8 people over that day. As soon as you call in and say, I have visitors here, they're not the right tickets.
I asked the sergeant in charge of traffic what we could do in that case, and he said, get to know your neighbors and see if you can borrow permits from your neighbors. That's what they told me. That's after, by the way.
So that's a communication issue on our end, sir,
I left
that
a
we will
message,
discuss.
I left a message on his machine, which he called me back several days later to talk about this, by the way, which concerns me. If we're supposed to call them up to report, that we're having a party, and we call up and leave that message on somebody's answering machine, okay, then the other police on duty might see us, give us a ticket. And then we gotta come here and fight it with somebody?
It's not intended, as the council president said.
Well, then, can you send this out to everybody, or maybe somebody in Kopek way that we can spread this information around so that we can understand what's going on?
You have a residence meeting? Do you guys have residence meetings?
No.
Would you be interested if we had if we had traffic safety come out and have a whole meeting to explain from
Yes.
soup to nuts? We can absolutely
The
talk
traffic,
to them.
I mean, he was very clear that what one of you said earlier, which was they're implementing what you guys decide. You know, that they're to enforce what you have on paper. And what was on paper was what I described. I looked at the ordinance on the books, I looked at the piece of paper that we have here, okay? And what it says is maximum maximum 5, it had nothing about hang tags. Whether it's
Five permits. 5 permits are on a hang tag. It's a number.
And it's not 5, well, I can show, you can see
Absolutely, we will absolutely follow up with the police
And by the
department,
way,
and we will put together a meeting to make sure that we have, that you have all the information that you need, and then they can explain exactly what the process is
There's a lot more work that has to be done before you send out letters and say, here's what's gonna happen.
I asked the police when they are going to start enforcing this. They said 30 days after the signs go up, the police will start to enforce it. End story, that's according to the law, that's what he said. Okay, and we're concerned about that because it's not clear what's being enforced.
We'll get it cleared up.
Can we have multiple permits so that we don't have to worry about parties? Has anybody considered perhaps, what I think you said, residential parking only at night, say, can the sign say, residential parking only from midnight to 6 a.m.? That would really help us, it would keep the people away. If there's a problem with somebody parking there all day, it would eliminate that, but still allow us to have parties during the day. Okay, without having to call up the police every time somebody's having to blow up a party.
It's probably, just as a sidebar, it's probably not a bad thing to call the police when you're having a blowout party, to just let them know that that's happening over there, so they don't come over and bother you.
He must have called 2 people come.
I've actually done that before, said, hey, just so you know.
What is the follow-up for this? I mean, we have several people from Kopek Way who are very surprised and disappointed, who have never had any problem again. I think the safety issue was the one van who was parking too close to Main Street. And it was a safety issue, it was within, I think it was 25 feet, is what the law said, of Main Street. So he moved, I saw him one day.
So what I recommend is that you guys pick one person to represent all of you.
Of your organization, so why don't we get the information of the president of your organization, and then we'll do what we need to do on our end, and we'll reach out to them.
And we'll have a meeting and have everything straightened out.
Good job.
But before you start speaking, sir, that all being said, what we do up here is what we feel is right for the residents. So my personal opinion is if you do get enough residents to say, we don't like this, unfortunately, I'm only here for one more meeting after tonight. But on a personal level, I wouldn't have a problem with changing that ordinance to suit the majority of the residents in your development.
So I have one vote for that. It says it's worthwhile. Do I have any other votes?
I don't have a problem with us changing it, but you guys make the decision in your group, and you come to us and tell us that, okay, we don't want it, but then you have to deal, because remember, it's gonna be on the other side of the road, and those people, once they know that it's there, or they get a ticket, you know where they're gonna move. They're gonna move over to your side, because you don't have the
But
ordinance.
then there's a problem that we can address that.
Okay.
And
We were trying to avoid that.
Address
We
it,
were trying to
might be
avoid
overnight. If the problem is from refuse notice people coming over, the best answer that we had, one of the answers was to make it an overnight only. And that avoids the party problem. And that seems to be a real.
I'm going to go back. We're just thinking that. Going to hang out.
And about the over Saturday night.
I'm totally going over there. That sounds like a rocking place to
It was
hang
only to
out.
make sure that, once we did it on Eisenhower, that you guys weren't assaulted with all of these cars that park on Eisenhower. Because we've had multiple very close accidents. People coming out, people going in, 2 cars here, 2 cars there. You know, you're narrowing the street to 9 feet wide. So that's why we went with yours also. So if you don't want it, you just get everybody to say you don't want it, we'll repeal it.
So, I'm sorry, what was your, state your name just for the record, please?
Dan Baker, 15 Kopek.
Thank you.
So I do think that there's been certainly a lot of traction on this tonight, which is good. Communication on this has been poor. Let's be honest from the get-go. We wouldn't be here in these these numbers, talking about this, had we not just received this letter in the post saying this was gonna happen without any kind of conversation with the residents. Now, you said a couple of people have complained. That's fine, maybe they have. However, you're missing a key point. That one vehicle, that black van that was parked there. Now, I can only base my traffic law on the Metropolitan Police in London. However, when you have a vehicle that is parked too close to a main road, that's against the law. It could have been controlled immediately with tickets there and then. Have we ever considered from the point of the road to a certain distance, we have a traffic line to indicate that you cannot park here? That would have then eased the problem of people turning into development, taking away the safety aspect. But no, we've gone full circle, and you're trying to now, almost to a certain extent, punish the people on the kopek for something that we don't want. Now, will other cars come through? Possibly. But as we said before, we are a party of development, apparently. But we expect on the big holidays, there will be people. There are a lot of cars. We get that. But to come through carte blanche and say, you're all gonna get permit parking, and you can get here, you can get your 5 passes, and now to almost have to call someone or call the police line, I'm gonna have a friend, but my son's having a birthday party, I'm gonna have like 10 guests, and me now having to call the police department every single time, to me, that's an infringement on my liberty. I shouldn't have to call a police department and turn around and say, you know what, I'm having a party, oh, I'm gonna have 10 cars, here's the license plate, here's the make, here's the model, what more do you want? Do you want their addresses, where they come from? No. As far as I'm concerned, this is a small town. We're not New Brunswick, we're not East Brunswick. If that traffic line there to say that you cannot park in this particular thing from here to the edge of the road, you cannot park it, and if that van was parked there and was ticketed, guess what? It's gone. But the way that it's been done, carte blanche, without any kind of talking to us residents, is so to me somewhat underhanded. And we're bringing it to your attention, and if we do raise that petition, I'm sure we'll have the numbers to say no, we don't want it. And I just wanted to bring it up to attention because the traffic violation sign would have been better than subjecting everybody in the development to a permit parking procedure that quite clearly we're opposed to. And we all live in that farm, in a development area. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be happy to visit over there and make arrangements so you can show me. So I have a clear understanding. I came here in August, so that was all enrolled, and I'll be happy to visit. So I'll get in contact.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Dawn Schwartz, 344 Crescent Avenue. Thank you everyone for your well wishes. I'm very excited to get started in January, and I just have 2 questions. One, I was wondering what the actual donation was to Alice's Pantry from the council breakfast. Financially, because I know that the proceeds go to Alice's Pantry. It's not in the budget, that's why, unless I missed it.
Sure, so the financial donation has not yet been made because the final bill is on this bill list. So I can't process the profits until that bill is paid. The food donation has already been made, I believe.
Yes.
So.
Okay, it was the financial I didn't see, that's
Sure,
why.
absolutely.
And also, I just wanted to put a plug in for the library. Being an educator, they are doing a fabulous program this Saturday called Pause Up for Reading, where they are reading to therapy dogs. They're promoting reading to therapy dogs, so children and adults get to sit and read to therapy dogs. I love story time, being a reading specialist and a teacher. Unfortunately, I will be away this weekend. It's at 10:30 at the library. There is no registration necessary, so if anybody's looking to get their kids out there and reading, maybe to a dog would be for them. So, yeah, if you could just keep an eye on that, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, not kopek oriented. Dan Baker again. So one question I do have is the lighting in Spotswood. It is poor. As in, you drive down Main Street and you have these rose tinted lights that don't really light the road whatsoever. And God forbid there's somebody that's walking along the road where we don't have any sidewalks, you don't see them. The smaller town, just down the road in Helmeta, they have these little white lights that actually flood the road. How did they get that? We have these really poor lighting. It's horrific.
VA, handle that one. I do know I was involved in part of that. We do have some areas that were done, but the VA can, give us, some enlightenment.
Sure, actually, I've gotten this question a lot in the past couple of weeks, and prior to that, never before. So JCP&L is actually in progress of replacing all of our light bulbs to those LED light bulbs. Helmeta, for some reason, was done as, I guess, first as a test, because it's a smaller municipality, and then they've been slowly going through the rest of Spotswood to complete the LED conversions. Just like, unfortunately, with all of the things that we deal with, supply chain has become a significant problem, we're told from JCP&L. But we should expect over the next year or so to see all of those convert to the LEDs. The flood of those lights are, like you said, so much better. So that's all being handled with JCP&L and traffic safety within the police department. And then I do think that the borough has plans to evaluate the lighting after all of those are completed to see where additional lights might be needed for safety. So hopefully that answers.
I know the tree streets around the lake were done already. So if you'd like to see the LED lights and what they upgraded that section of town already.
Okay.
So if you'd like to see what it's gonna look like, they're completed already.
Okay, also did a section over by the township yard. There's a section over there that was done also. Kinda got, they did one section of us, then they went off and they did Helmeta, and then they came and did another section of us, and they ran out of, because they're not just replacing the lights, they're bulbs, they're replacing the whole arm. And they ran out of arms.
So that there'll be LED.
Yes.
Yes, everything will be LED.
Should we not maybe look at putting solar panels on the lights as well, so you don't actually have any energy? You can use the solar from the sun, and that will power it in the evening, plus a little bit.
That's usually a public service project also. The utility companies put those solar panels on the poles.
We're actually paying less for the new ones than we did for the old ones.
No, that's good, but I'm thinking if you have solar, you'd be paying less.
Yeah.
Maybe an upfront cost, yes. I mean, towns like South River have that.
Yeah, a lot of towns.
Townships, they might put it on their buildings and their yards and stuff like that, but if you ever see them on their poles itself, South River's a bad example because they have their own electric company, so. But all the other towns, like us with public service, they would own those solar panels on poles, it wouldn't be a township.
It's on the township property.
Right.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Bob Curtelli, 36 kopek. I just want to I have one question, but also just one statement. The parking on Eisenhower, you can park on both sides of the street that leads out to Main Street, correct?
Yes.
On kopek, you can only park on one side of the street, on the part that leads out to Main Street. There's a no parking sign for the other side of the street. So you always have 2 lanes available on kopek, because it's also a wider street, I believe, than.
It's not something that we do.
Well, the sign's there. Anyway,
I don't live on Kopek Way, so.
I just wanted to bring that point up, so it can be taken into consideration. The other thing is, has to do with the Spotswood plan. What happened to all the trees that went up to the properties on Kopek? I don't live right on that side, but I was walking my dog the other day and I noticed that there's like one tree left along the fence line instead of the 30 or 40 feet of trees that were there before.
I can take some of it. So I'm not specifically familiar with the 30 or 40 feet. I know that there's about 200 feet sort of further that goes back, that butts up to the end of the properties on kopek. About half of the tree line will be removed, and then they're going to put in new trees and shrubbery, and then a sound barrier wall. I have to specifically look at the area that you're talking about. I can't specifically recall, but I can assure you that there is a plan to have trees and shrubberies put back in, and then the sound barrier wall, which we're assured it will be almost completely disguised by the new trees and shrubbery and existing tree line that will be there, to sort of provide that sound barrier.
Are the plans approved at this point for what's going into your property?
The plans were approved several months ago, maybe July. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, July was the final approval that went through. This has been about a year-long process of different resolutions in this governing body and the zoning board, and every single one of them have so far been all done. So everything's been approved.
Okay, can we take a look at those plans?
Of course. I have electronic versions. We have paper copies. You can feel free to stop by the municipal building. I would set up an appointment just to make sure that we have access to them. Actually, I think we have them as a Dropbox. Maybe we can put them up online or something like that.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. So we'll try to post them online so that the residents can see what the plans will look like.
Okay, thank you.
Right, this is the last time.
This is the first time I've ever been to one, and it's probably going to be the last that anyone ever wants to see. So, okay, going back to the development structure, you mentioned there's a sound wall. What is going there? Are we at liberty to know exactly what's going there? Because my thing is, if it's a sound wall, that means there's going to be a lot of noise potentially to kind of soften that, and also if what we believe is going on, which is like a multitude of warehouses or one big warehouse, that's going to be causing a lot of traffic. Now, we all know that going down towards the Borough at any time of day is a nightmare now. So if we were looking at increased traffic, how is this street and what is the planning going to do to kind of stop that from infringing on day-to-day life, travel, commuting, etc.?
So the plans include a variety of things. So right now it's expected to be one large warehouse, We don't know the exact use just yet. A tenant has not been shared with us. So we will await that, but it is essentially the property was already zoned light industrial and the zoning stayed the same. So the use did not change, just some of the coverage did. That's really all that the zoning board and this governing body did as the redevelopment agency. In terms of the traffic, we expect it to probably be like a light and a last mile type of thing. So the larger trucks will probably come in, we assume, from 18 and go down onto Main Street into the plant. The entrance and exit are changing. Additionally, the street is being widened at the expense of the existing property line of 85 Main Street. So, and that actually approval is coming from Middlesex County since it's a county road. So we don't have much jurisdiction there, but we did express input and concern over traffic concerns, just like you did, sir. So, which is partially why the road is being widened to allow for an only turn lane into the facility. So I can't, there was a traffic study done. I can certainly produce that as well and put that on the website, in addition with the drawings, so you can review those. Definitely an impact, but it is expected that the impact that will be going into the Borough side will probably be smaller vans and things like that. The trailers, we don't presume to go through Spotswood. It wouldn't make sense in the progression of where their trucks would be coming from. So more to come on that, of course, but we will produce the traffic study online and the design so they can be reviewed.
And just as a follow-up and I understand that it's the first time that a lot of people are coming to a council meeting. We by law are not allowed to do any of these things in a vacuum. They're consistently advertised with the proper advertising in newspapers as well as online. There is, numerous discussions that we have. It has to go before, this governing body, it goes before the planning board and the zoning board. So this is nothing that, to Ryan's earlier point, this has been a year in the process of approval process through this. So it's not been discussed publicly at a lot of different meetings. So we are happy to answer and share all of the plans. Like Ryan said, if you want to actually see them, they're like stacked about this high, but please make an appointment with us because we want to be able to make sure that we have them there readily for you to flip through and take a look at. They're very extensive. There's probably, 40 pages, Larry, would you say, of plans, right, Kevin? I think, right, it's 40 pages of different plans. I mean, there's a whole landscaping plan that's absolutely, I can't even wait, to be honest, because the plan, they list out exactly how many plants of each plant, how big it's gonna be, what the real name of it, what we would call it, a maple tree versus, I don't know, whatever the correct, name is, but it's very, very detailed. I think if you saw it on the Dropbox, you may not be able to get like the grand scheme of it on your computer because you won't be able to see it so great. So I do recommend, if you really are interested in what's going on, over there, come and take a look. We've had a lot of residents come up and flip through those plans over the past few months, and everybody who sees them, it's actually kind of exciting on what's going to happen over there. Oh yes, we did have it at Oktoberfest too. We did have it on the board, and we had access to it as well. So I totally urge everybody, come and see us, come and talk to us, come and ask your questions. If you have them, ask them. We'd love to answer them.
So to our engineer, can you explain what the retaining wall is gonna do?
The sound barrier, so there was an acoustical study done, and in case there was any kind of sound spillover, if you will, into the kopek way area, that wall's there so that it doesn't affect any residential, and you guys won't hear anything. Then there's also a landscape barrier in front of that. They cleared out the landscaping for the purpose of installation of the wall, and we'll be putting everything back, and including more, to create a heavy buffer between kopek way and the proposed warehouse.
And that was one of the things I have to say, as we were going through this process and sitting down with the potential buyers at the time and what it is that they wanted to put there. I know for me, and having that conversation, we're a small town, but I have friends that live over there on Kopek Way, and it was extremely important to us to make sure that we were protecting our residents with ensuring, and Kevin knows, he sat at a lot of those meetings and discussions that we had, and that was always, and I would say, what are you doing over here? And how close are you going over there? And I wanted to make sure that our residents are not impacted by this. And because you guys are the closest piece to that development over there, it was high priority for us to make sure that we were ensuring that whatever, sound studies, all those types of studies, to make sure that the residents over there were still going to enjoy their quality of life that they have today.
You don't want those noises interrupting our blowout parties.
I don't know, I think I'm gonna get complaints from the warehouse telling us that, I don't know what they're doing on Kopek Way, but our guys can't work. I'm coming over there.
Sorry, I just had one question on that. Is the last remaining building staying, or?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all gonna come down. It's gonna be level. I think we're just.
I didn't know if it was historical or what, so, yeah. Good.
And we do, Ryan, we have bricks, right?
Yeah, yes, we do have a pallet of bricks.
We have a pallet of bricks, so if there's anybody interested in the history and the historical piece of Spotswood, of that Schweitzer, Councilman Spicuzzo, I know you just asked me about it, I told you, we have a pallet of bricks. I remember seeing it actually after.
That's right.
Yeah, we have a picture of it somewhere, but we do have a pallet of bricks if anybody is interested in grabbing a piece of Spotswood history before it's completely done. I'm gonna leave one on your porch at a party.
We're gonna wrap it.
Okay, of course.
Hi, I'm Nils Bartholomew for kopek. Just one question. The second house right on kopek, and just to follow up, I also have no complaints about the zoning, people coming in. I have no problem with the car. But my question is pertaining to the petition that you mentioned. I know we're gonna have the numbers. That's not the problem. The problem is after we get the numbers, then what? Come back here in the next meeting?
You bring it to us at the next meeting and then we'll rectify the problem.
It will take two meetings,
Two
to
meetings,
rewrite
yeah.
the ordinance again, so it's
Right,
a
and
process.
then we have to approve the ordinance, but
And
if
we're
you guys
also-
don't want it, we'll take it away.
We don't.
Okay.
That's an absolute.
Time out. You guys can give us the petition and it will be handed over to the police department, and then they can advise the council what to do next, okay?
Can we put our requests for
You could do,
the parking restriction from the main road
do
to
whatever
to
you
here?
want, you could do whatever you want, but it goes to the police department, because they're in charge of public safety and making those determinations. And to the mayor's point earlier, it's not that they acted in a vacuum, they rely on the advice and the input given to them by the police department. That's their responsibility, public safety is their responsibility in this town, and they rely on it. But yes, give it to the police department, let them observe it, and they'll make a determination and give an opinion to the council as to what steps to take.
Is there a specific form that this petition should
No,
take?
there's none.
Okay.
We can talk about it afterwards, because this is really,
Because, I'd rather come back here in the next meeting with the paper.
and you can email, just so you know, there's no specific format by which, a member of council receives, and an email does the trick as well. You're all welcome to come back, but, and do that, but if you just email the council president, the business administrator, they'll make sure that information gets to the police department, and then next steps will be taken, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other question. Earlier, Mayor Palmer, said that the property across from the plant had been donated to the town. Are there any plans as to what that's going to be used for?
We have some thoughts, it's likely gonna be recreational facilities, some type of recreation.
Could I suggest or just bring it to your attention?
Absolutely.
Maybe a small dog park? for the-
I love you! We already have a plan for a dog park, where Victoria Avenue Park is right now, that needs renovation. We have plans, and we've been talking to the county about having them also help to give grant money to us to put that dog park in. So yes, I am hoping by spring we'll have a dog park. I love dogs.
Just one other question, but I guess it's more of a procedural thing. If we get the residents of kopek to sign a petition to take away the permit parking, and if we want to suggest the last 30 or 40 feet or whatever of kopek to be a no parking zone right there, do we need to do that in two separate petitions or combine it into one? Which way should it be?
There's only be one, right, Vicki?
There's no format at all, and, it'll be fine. Whatever you get a petition for or input, and you can get how many people to agree, God bless. That's an accomplishment of its own, but if everyone agrees to that, submit it, but again, it will be up to the police department to decide and advise how to solve the problem that's brought to their attention. But just be assured that everything that has been discussed today will already be brought to the attention. I mean, it's really admirable, you wanna go and you can go ahead, I don't wanna stop anyone, go ahead and get their petition. But don't believe, that means the steps will be taken right away to communicate what was communicated to the council, the mayor, and the VA today, to the police department, and they can start looking at it, so.
There's one other, I haven't had a chance to read the letter in depth yet. There's one other street across from Brookview on the other side of Main Street, that's a dead end, I believe. Is that included in our street in Eisenhower?
That's the Colonial area. It's already in, it's already
They
in.
already have permit for vehicles in that area.
I never go down there because it's a dead end, so.
Yeah, clearly, they have permit parking, they don't want to be there.
So what everybody's referring to with the petition and stuff too, you don't have to come to the next meeting because we only have one next month anyway, and it's a month away, December 12th. Yes. So if you have it before then, all of our email addresses are on the website. So get it to all of us, or the president, council president, or mayor, or Ryan, or BA, as soon as you have it, so you're not waiting a whole month for then us to review it, and then we can send it out for review, and it could, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a fast process, but it will quicken the process if you don't wait for the next meeting.
And just to piggyback off of that, and this is never the problem any other time, but since there's only one other meeting left to the schedule of council, if an ordinance can't be introduced at the last meeting of the year, because once the session changes every year, the ordinance is considered dead. So it would require additional action. So it probably, you would not see a first reading of an ordinance change until at least the first meeting in January. So I just want to manage expectations. But you know, we can certainly work together with the police department if it is all agreed upon before then that this isn't necessary. So
This is very, very important that you're bringing this to our attention. And again, and maybe Larry, if you have an opportunity, we'll go over there and take a walk. But I also want to say, you know, I'm big on email. And if you, I know it's another step, and please understand, I sympathize with that. You give a call over there and just send a quick email, call, etc. Because if you do get tickets, here's an email I did communicate XYZ about until this is all cleared up. You know, that's just my opinion, leave it as that. And I saw the plans today at the Office on Aging. It was great, the big boards, and they're certainly wonderful to see. So that it's really going to come along nice. I think it's going to be certainly great for the community. And again, transparency is right there. So I really encourage you to make the appointment to see what the plans are and etc. And if there is a meeting that's going to come up, I'd like to be a part of it, if that's the case. But for now, great discussion. Let's keep it going.
Normally, we don't require an appointment upstairs, but it's kind of been a mess. So we have a little bit of a mess, and we actually have to find wherever the construction people might have moved a box to.
So we'll see it tomorrow morning then, 8 a.m.
You'll only find me. And listen, as long as you bring me a cup of coffee and invite me to your next party, you can come up and hang out with me all day long, anytime.
Please don't wear a suit because you get the sheetrock dust all over you.
Yeah, I know. Charlie went to go get the tour today, and we're all covered in sheetrock dust. So it's all good. It's all good.
What I'll do is once you get that petition to us, I'll talk to the police department about holding off on putting anything up until we get this resolved.
I think I'm going to take ownership of that.
You're gonna what?
I'm taking ownership of that.
Okay. Well, send it to my email address. I'll bring it to the attention of the
And
police.
please, actually, Council President, if you could send it to Council President, to the business administrator, as well as the mayor, please, and then we will make sure that it gets sent over and there's, the conversation is had with BJ.
Anyone else from the public? Anyone on Zoom?
So what have we learned today? Kopek Way is the place to be. They have the best parties on the planet.
So let's all park our cars on Kopek Way and go to the bar.
There you go.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.